a small and cozy town, an amazing fair arrived. Among the many rides and booths with treats, there was a large tent with the sign Toy Factory inside. They sold all kinds of toys, but one, in particular, was very popular. It was a soft toy called Huggy Wuggy. He was blue, fluffy, with big round eyes and a wide smile. The children immediately liked him, and soon many residents of the town had bought this funny toy. One of the happy owners was a boy named Tim. He took Huggy Wuggy home, placed him on his bed, and went to sleep. But that night, something strange happened. Tim dreamt that he was walking around his room, but suddenly noticed that Huggy Wuggy was no longer sitting on the bed. The toy was standing by the door, staring at him with its big eyes. Tim walked closer and heard Huggy Wuggy whisper, "Shall we play?" The boy was surprised and a bit scared, but he agreed. Huggy Wuggy took Tim's hand, and they set off on a night adventure. They passed through the doorway and found themselves in an enchanted forest, filled with fireflies and mysterious sounds. Tim and Huggy Wuggy played hide and seek, rode on magical swings, and laughed until they couldn't anymore. But soon Tim felt tired and wanted to go back home. "I need to sleep," he said. Huggy Wuggy nodded and led Tim back. They returned to his room, and Tim saw his bed again. "Thank you for the game," Huggy Wuggy said Tim, and lay down. Huggy Wuggy sat nearby and smiled. In the morning, Tim woke up, saw Huggy Wuggy beside him, and thought it was just a dream. But on the floor, he found a tiny firefly glowing softly. Tim smiled and realized that sometimes the most amazing things can happen at night when everyone is asleep. Since then, Tim and Huggy Wuggy went on new adventures every night, and although it was sometimes a bit scary, they were always together and always returned home by morning. Night after night, Tim and Huggy Wuggy continued their magical adventures. Each night, they discovered new, wondrous places that were as beautiful as they were mysterious. One evening, as Tim was drifting off to sleep, he felt the familiar tug on his hand. He opened his eyes to find Huggy Wuggy smiling at him. "Ready for another adventure?" Huggy Wuggy whispered. Tim nodded eagerly, and together they stepped through the doorway into the unknown. This time they found themselves in a sparkling cave filled with luminescent crystals. The crystals glowed in shades of blue, purple, and green, casting enchanting reflections all around. As they ventured deeper into the cave, they heard the soft melody of a distant song. It was haunting and beautiful, calling them further into the depths. Following the music, they came upon a grand underground lake, its waters shimmering like liquid silver under the light of the crystals. "Who's singing?" Tim asked in awe. Huggy Wuggy pointed to the far side of the lake, where a figure slowly emerged from the shadows. It was a mermaid with a flowing tail and long silver hair. Her voice was the source of the enchanting song. "Welcome, Tim and Huggy Wuggy," the mermaid greeted. "I am Serena, the guardian of this cave. Few have ventured here, but those who do are always welcome." Serena told them stories of the cave's history and the magic that lay within its depths. She spoke of ancient creatures, hidden treasures, and the power of the luminescent crystals. Tim and Huggy Wuggy listened intently, mesmerized by her tales. As the night went on, Serena offered to show them something truly special. She led them to a hidden alcove where the largest crystal of all lay dormant. With a gentle touch, she made it glow, revealing a breathtaking display of colors and patterns. "This crystal holds the essence of dreams," Serena explained. "It can make your wildest imaginations come true." Tim's eyes widened with wonder. "Can we take some of its magic with us?" Serena smiled. "The magic of the crystal is all around you. As long as you believe in your dreams, its power will always be with you." As the first light of dawn began to creep into the cave, Tim knew it was time to return home. He thanked Serena for her kindness and wisdom, promising to visit her again. Back in his room, Tim felt the lingering magic of the cave. He looked at Huggy Wuggy and smiled. "Every night is an adventure with you." Huggy Wuggy nodded, his eyes twinkling with the same luminescent glow of the crystals. "And there are many more adventures to come." Tim drifted off to sleep, his heart filled with anticipation for the next night. He knew that with Huggy Wuggy by his side, the magic of the enchanted cave and the guardian's wisdom would stay with him always, guiding him through their endless adventures. The following night, Tim was more excited than ever. He could hardly wait for bedtime, knowing that Huggy Wuggy would soon take him on another thrilling adventure. As the clock struck midnight, Tim felt the familiar tug on his hand. He opened his eyes to see Huggy Wuggy smiling beside him. "Where are we going tonight?" Tim asked eagerly. "You'll see," Huggy Wuggy replied with a wink. They stepped through the doorway and found themselves in a dense, fog-covered forest. The trees were tall and ancient, their twisted branches creating eerie shapes against the moonlit sky. Despite the fog, the path ahead was illuminated by glowing mushrooms that cast a soft, blue light. As they ventured deeper into the forest, they heard a rustling sound nearby. Tim held onto Huggy Wuggy's hand a little tighter, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. Suddenly, a small, friendly-looking creature emerged from the underbrush. It had large, curious eyes and fur that shimmered like starlight. The creature approached them cautiously, then spoke in a soft voice, "Welcome, travelers. I am Glimmer, the guardian of this forest. What brings you here?" Huggy Wuggy smiled warmly. "Hello, Glimmer. We are just exploring and looking for new adventures." Glimmer's eyes sparkled with delight. "You've come to the right place. Our forest is full of wonders and mysteries. But be careful, it's also home to the shadow sprites, mischievous beings who love to play tricks on visitors." Tim looked around, intrigued by the idea of encountering these mysterious creatures. "Can you show us around?" "Of course," Glimmer replied. "Follow me." They followed Glimmer through the forest, marveling at the bioluminescent plants and strange, magical creatures that inhabited the woods. Everywhere they looked, there was something new and fascinating to see. As they continued their journey, they came upon a clearing where a large, ancient tree stood. Its trunk was covered in glowing runes, and it emanated a powerful, otherworldly energy. Glimmer explained, "This is the heart tree. It is the source of the forest's magic and the key to keeping the balance between light and shadow." Suddenly, a group of shadow sprites appeared, darting around the clearing and giggling mischievously. They began to playfully tug at Tim's clothes and tickle him, causing him to laugh despite himself. "Hey, that tickles," he exclaimed. Huggy Wuggy chuckled. "It looks like they want to play." Glimmer smiled. "The shadow sprites mean no harm. They just love to have fun." The group spent the next hour playing games with the shadow sprites, who led them on a wild chase through the forest, laughing and creating light shows with their magical abilities. Despite their initial mischief, the sprites turned out to be friendly and full of joy. As the night wore on, Glimmer led Tim and Huggy Wuggy back to the edge of the forest. "Thank you for visiting our enchanted woods," Glimmer said. "Remember, the magic of the forest is always with you, as long as you carry its wonder in your heart." Tim and Huggy Wuggy said their goodbyes and stepped through the doorway back into Tim's room. As Tim climbed into bed, he felt a deep sense of contentment and wonder. "Tonight was amazing, Huggy Wuggy," he said, yawning. Huggy Wuggy nodded. "Every night brings new adventures, Tim. Sleep well and dream of the wonders we've seen." Tim drifted off to sleep, his dreams filled with the magical forest and its enchanting inhabitants. He knew that as long as Huggy Wuggy was by his side, each night would bring new and exciting adventures filled with magic, friendship, and wonder. As the nights passed, Tim's excitement for his nocturnal adventures only grew. Every evening he eagerly awaited the familiar tug on his hand from Huggy Wuggy, knowing that it signaled the beginning of another thrilling journey. One night, as the moon hung high in the sky, Huggy Wuggy gently shook Tim awake. "Tonight we're going somewhere truly special," Huggy Wuggy whispered. Tim's eyes sparkled with anticipation. "Where are we going?" "You'll see," Huggy Wuggy replied with a mysterious smile. They stepped through the doorway and found themselves on the edge of a vast, shimmering lake. The water was crystal clear, reflecting the starlit sky above, and in the center of the lake stood a magnificent island with a towering castle made of pure crystal. Each tower of the castle glowed with a different color, creating a dazzling display of light. "Welcome to the Crystal Castle," Huggy Wuggy said. "This place is filled with secrets and magic." Tim gazed in awe at the beautiful sight. "It's incredible. Let's explore." They boarded a small, enchanted boat that glided effortlessly across the water, bringing them closer to the island. As they approached, Tim noticed a figure standing on the shore, waving at them. It was a tall, elegant figure dressed in flowing robes that sparkled like the stars. "Greetings, Tim and Huggy Wuggy," the figure said warmly as they stepped off the boat. "I am Lumina, the guardian of the Crystal Castle." "Hello, Lumina," Tim said. "Your castle is amazing. Can we explore it?" Lumina smiled. "Of course. Follow me, and I'll show you the wonders of the castle." They followed Lumina through the grand entrance, where the walls glittered with embedded gems and the floors were made of polished crystal. Each room they entered was more magnificent than the last, filled with beautiful artifacts, glowing crystals, and intricate carvings. In one room, they found a grand library with shelves that reached the ceiling, filled with ancient books and scrolls. Lumina explained that the library contained the knowledge of the ages, including powerful spells and forgotten histories. "Can we read some of the books?" Tim asked, his eyes wide with curiosity. "Of course," Lumina replied. "Knowledge is meant to be shared." Tim and Huggy Wuggy spent hours exploring the library, reading about distant lands, magical creatures, and ancient legends. As they read, they felt a deeper understanding of the world and its mysteries. Later, Lumina led them to the castle's heart, a grand hall with a massive crystal at its center, pulsating with vibrant colors. "This is the heart crystal," Lumina explained. "It powers the magic of the castle and protects our world." Tim reached out to touch the crystal, feeling its warmth and energy. "It's so powerful," he whispered. "Yes," Lumina agreed, "and it must be protected. The heart crystal ensures balance and harmony in our world."